They came from the shores of the Indian Ocean, from Aden to Singapore and beyond. They grappled with the sails of wooden merchant ships, toiled in the searing heat of boiler and engine rooms, served travellers aboard the great ocean liners. They were at the very heart of the British mercantile marine. They were Britannia's untold stories, the Lascars. The name Lascar in its first Persian form means army, and an army or navy they were. By the late Victorian era, there were at least 24,000 Lascars serving on Britain's ships. In the First World War, that had leapt to 51,000 seafarers in service with Britain's mercantile marine. Steamships, very like this one, were home to thousands of Lascars in the heyday of the British Empire. The South Asian seafarers often had the toughest of jobs, keeping the boilers and engines going. Hard and filthy work. We brought together British descendants of Lascar seafarers to show them what their forebears' lives at sea would have been like.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Steam Tug Portway. Steam Tug Portway was built in 1927 by Harland and Wolff at Govan in Scotland. She was built as a coal-fired steam tug. All the machinery you see today is original. So it gives you an idea of how hard it was for people to work on coal-fired steam ships. Your granddads and great-granddads, when they were working in the boiler rooms, they would be moving a huge amount of coal. The temperature in the boiler room would be around between 40 and 60 degrees centigrade. Just imagine what it must have been like. What we're going to do next, we're going to have a look around the tug. We're going to go into the engine room and look at the engines, and then we're going to go into the boiler room where you'll be able to put some coal on.
What I find amazing is for people like my grandfather and their generation, particularly people from the Indian subcontinent like Bangladesh and India who were in the merchant navy, where obviously they went in search for a better life for themselves and for their offspring or future generation. But the hardship they endured, it's mind-boggling. I mean, for the life of me, I cannot get over how hard it is.
It's been an amazing experience. That first time ever in my life I've got to see what life would have been like in an engine room, and I could see it was so hot. I had a chance to shovel the coal in as well. I had a chance to use a rake. I had a chance to have the ash taken up as well. So shoveling coal in the furnace under huge, intense heat and pressure to keep up with time, and as well as lifting heavy coal. And it wasn't so easy.
Extremely proud. Extremely proud. I've heard all the stories. I'm proud of the fact that they did it. I'm proud that, they bared with the conditions, including how they were treated, everything that you can sort of go into. But they did it for a better cause, and, I'm hopefully the better cause. But also, I think, I feel proud that we're now bringing this to life. I feel like we're doing some small amount of justice, and the more we can do, I think the better.
Lascars, many of them seafarers from South Asia, served as much in war as in peace. This is the Merchant Navy Memorial in the heart of London. Here are the names of Merchant Navy ships and seafarers lost in both world wars. But not all are so honoured. This is the P&O liner steamship Southset. On the 19th of July 1917, she was torpedoed off Portland. She took 50 minutes to sink, and all on board were saved. All that is except 15 Lascars, far below decks in the engine and boiler rooms. Tragically, they were lost with their ship. This is the Merchant Navy's First World War memorial, recording ships and some 12,000 seafarers lost in that terrible conflict. But you will look in vain within it for the boiler and engine room crew of the SS Southset. The Lascars of the Southset have no grave but the sea that took them that July day over a century ago, and no memorial for their sacrifice in the capital of the empire they served, even unto death. Until now, here in the Church of All Hallows by the Tower, in the City of London, is kept a memorial book created by Britain's Maritime Foundation for all lost at sea with no known grave, for whatever reason, in war and in peace.
Hello everybody, welcome. Do come forward. It's lovely to see you all. Today I'd like to show you something very special which we keep here in the Maritime Chapel, which is the Maritime Memorial Book. And today we're going to show you some names that have been put in recently from Lascars who served and gave their lives during the First World War. And the ones we're remembering today are from the ship, the SS Southset. So do come and have a look, see if you can recognise any of the names. Often in history, we don't hear stories of ordinary people, and it's those people who actually make the world turn and are there, you know, in those times of war and need, who actually are the ones who make things possible. And so it's remembering those who did some of the hardest work at sea, most challenging and probably most dangerous. And so to lift their lives and remember them in this way, I think is really important.
Without these individuals involved, Britain would not have had access to the wealth and the power and everything else that it later became to be. And at the same time, it's that contribution for us to recognise. And because now we're very much living in a global world, we need to celebrate it widely and understand that it was more than just some groups of people. It's a combined effort, good and bad.
Particularly for young people of my generation, you know, coming from a South Asian background, to actually have these names being honoured in a way, it's special. It's something that's hard to describe, because it's almost like, at least, you know, history hasn't forgotten about these people. They haven't forgotten about the contributions that they made all these years ago. And I think particularly for, you know, people of my generation can relate to that and can have a connection to that.
We need to increase the exposure and really say, it's what I said to you before a long time ago, which is that if we call ourselves Great Britain, if we call ourselves the British Empire, if we call ourselves all these great things, the greatness comes from a contribution of many people. Least of some of these people who gave their lives for what we have today, i.e. Great Britain. So it's the least we can do. It's the least we can do.
The 15 South Asian seafarers lost in the SS Southset were all part of the great throng of Lascars who served Britain in war and in peace. Now they serve anew for all their fellow South Asian seafarers lost in war and beyond them to that great hidden navy without which Britain's prosperity would hardly have been possible. The aim of all working to remember them is clear: to see that the Lascars are no longer Britannia's untold stories,